Welcome back, human schools and mutated fools. My name is Mara. I'm a mutated zombie, and you have come to the channel Beware Mutated Zombies. Today, we are continuing our quest to get the princess in Princess Phenomenon to get her spell broken, or curse broken. So far, we have 2 pieces of 3 of the crystal shoe thing that she needs in order to break her curse. And Karma just tried to say that he loves the main character, and she didn't let him finish, and he was saying it wrong, and things just happened. So hopefully we're still on track for the good ending. I really have no way of telling if I am on track for the good ending or bad ending, because there's like no tracker in regards to the love interest. Like if you've met a certain amount of crystals for the choices or not. I was told that you have to get all the crystals. You have to get every single choice correct in order to get the good ending. And if that's the case, I don't like this game. I already don't like this game because I'm not interested in the main character. She annoys me so much. People said she'd grow on me. She's... Now that I know her past, I don't feel as annoyed with her, but I'm still annoyed with her. Like, there are just things about her that it could have been done better. The characters are locked. Like, all the romantic interests are not available to you when you play the game. There are 2 characters that are locked. And now I've heard that you have to get every single choice correct in order to get the good ending. If that's true, I hate this game more than I did when I first tried playing it, when my friend asked me to try it out. If that's not true, and you just have to get like a certain amount of the crystals, you have to get a certain amount of right choices in order to get the good ending, then cool, I'm fine with that. I have not looked it up to see if what I was told is correct, because I don't want spoilers. And this person just was like, oh no, she didn't get all the answers right. She's in for the bad ending. And I'm like, wait, what? So we'll see. We are pretty close to being done, I believe, because we only have 1 more piece of the crystal left to get. Or not the crystal, the shoe necklace thing. So let's go ahead and continue and keep our fingers crossed that we will get a good ending. I will definitely, if I get a bad ending, I'm gonna Google it. Okay, I'm gonna see what the requirements are. And I swear to all things holy and unholy that I will flip this computer off the table. I'm just gonna be so annoyed. I will leave a bad review, a very bad review. Well, not a very bad review. I mean, you can only give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So I will give it a thumbs down, the biggest of thumbs downs. But let's get on to Jurian. At least Jurian and Darlin are good in my heart. At least they got their good ending. At least I hope it's good ending, because they're dating now. Okay. Good vibes. Keep your stance straight, princess. Jurian gives me the warning, but too late on purpose. I can see the smile on her face as she effortlessly slides past my defenses and taps me on the shoulder with her wooden sword. I got you. Again. For the last few days, I have been practicing with Jurian and Garland. I called him Darlin, didn't I? Well, he is darling, so meh. For the last few days, I have been practicing with Jurian and Garland because Claude still hasn't come out of his room. The knights offered to train me, and right now they are teaching me about ways to hold a sword. This is slow, but Claude did tell me I wouldn't be able to master the sword so quickly. Claude. He made me so angry that one day that I could not even properly give him a gift. Yet I still feel sad that he is not here teaching me himself. Come on, princess, focus. I jolt out of my reverie and nod at Jurian. Okay. I ready myself for her next strike and once again get tapped, this time on the hip. Garland takes over after Jurian, and then we do rounds where I try to hit them with certain strikes. They are both good at teaching, but it does not feel the same as Claude's instruction. His lessons seem less like they were out of a book. Don't worry, princess, it always starts out slow. Lan was just as slow at training, but look at him now. Garland whips his head around in Jurian's direction, his face turning deep red. Jurian, that nickname. But you're so much fun to tease, Lan. She beams at him and then laughs at his embarrassed face. They're so cute. Our practice goes on for a few more minutes before the knights tell me to wrap up for the night. I think I'm going to stay out here for a bit. Princess, you know it's dangerous out here at night. If I don't return in 10 minutes, you can come back and check on me. Jurian seems unconvinced, but she eventually nods. Fine, but keep your guard up, princess. I watch the two knights as they head back. I see Garland put his arm around Jurian's waist, pulling her closer. Ah! I turn away from the sight, ignoring the heavy feeling in my stomach. I'll just practice the swings for 5 more minutes. Blah, 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 blah. I'll just practice the swings for 5 more minutes. The only thing I hear in the clearing while I practice is my shallow breathing and the wind in my ears. Something breaks my concentration, however. I see a glimmer of color in the forest and I instantly stop, my hands growing tense on the wooden sword. What was that? I glance around at my surroundings, and then I freeze when I feel a hand on my shoulder. I can feel someone's breath on my neck. This all feels familiar. Is this Claude? If I had known what color she saw, then I could be able to tell. But she just said she saw a flash of color and not what the color looked like. Turn and point the sword. I am pretty sure I recognize Claude's hand, but because I know it's him, I also know what he'd want me to do. I duck away from his hand and turn quickly to point my sword. The tip of the wood is at his neck, and for a few stunned moments, I think I've won. Even Claude looks surprised. It's really him. But then Claude's hands have moved, and he has one hand over my wrist and the other on my sword. Good, Lilac. You realized you had an opening, but you broke your concentration. Claude removes his hands, allowing me to lower my sword. I'm sorry, Lilac. I feel my breath catch in my throat when Claude holds out the rose pendant that I got for him. I feel my cheeks flush. I wish he was wearing it. You accidentally left this beautiful thing in my room when I came to return it. Return it? Yes, you left it in my room, and so I only thought it appropriate to bring it back to you. Does he really think I left it there on accident? Why would I leave it in your room on accident? What? I bought it for you, and I wanted to give it to you, but you were acting so strangely, and Claude's eyes widened, the surprise clear on his face. Lilac, you bought this for me? Why does he look so shocked? Claude looks at me in awe for a few moments. His eyes go back down to the locket. He traces a finger around the intricate shape, his eyebrows slowly furrowing. It's a thank you for everything that you've done for me. Lilac. This is beautiful. He lets the chain fall through his fingers as he stares at the rose pendant with adoration. I feel my heartbeat stutter as he turns to regard me with the same gentle smile. He leans forward and my breathing stops as he reaches out to hold up my glass slipper necklace. He's standing so close to me. Yeah, it's still broken. You really are a good person, Lilac. You completed your second good deed. I think some kind of congratulations is in order. Is there anything you want that I can give to you? I look up at him and notice that Claude's smile doesn't reach his eyes. He still looks so sad. I feel like there is so much that I want from Claude, but I do not want to ask him for something that might make him mad. I want a real smile. Claude looks at me, his expression puzzled. He chuckles softly. But I am smiling. No, I want a real smile, one that isn't so sad. Ah, you saw right through me. We have been partners for long enough. How about this one? He smiles a little awkwardly, and the quirk of his lips looks more embarrassed than bright. I raise an eyebrow in confusion. No need for that look, darling. I really do appreciate your worry for me. What? What was that? Karma suddenly stops, eyes wide. He puts his hand on his chest and takes a step away from me, his fingers clutching at the fabric of his shirt. Oh no, it's the rose tattoo. It's his curse. Claude has a pain expression on his face, only making me more anxious. Not now. Claude, are you okay? What's wrong? Oh, Lilac, don't worry about it. He lowers his hand with a pained smile slowly fading from his face. This does little to reassure me. Was it my fault you were locked in your room for so long? He just looked so pained to be anywhere near me. No, most definitely not. I was feeling under the weather. And also bitter. Bitter? Why would he feel bitter? But it's not for you to worry about, darling. For now, we should head back. It's late and you need to rest. I just got back from patrol, so I would like to rest as well. Is there anything else I can do for you? No, sweet Lilac, you've already done enough for me. He clutches the rose locket to his chest and sighs out a little with a gentle smile. The smile feels so real to me. This is a beautiful gift, and I will treasure it always. Thank you, Lilac. Now, shall we head back? I nod at him, and we silently walk back to the Marchen. When we make it back to the tavern, I feel tired, but also lighter than I have for weeks. Claude wishes me a good night before slowly walking off to his room, holding the rose locket I gave him tightly. Today I'm walking around town to do some errands with Claude. It has been quite a while since we have done this. Though we are here to run errands, there is also something else that drew me in town today. Yesterday, Waltz came back to the Marchen and told us of an announcement the king was making today. Apparently that announcement had been posted for at least a week's time, but Waltz had only caught onto it after hearing about it from the crowds after one of his puppet shows. I'm not sure what this announcement entails, but I feel that I need to see the king make it with my own eyes. What? I can see more people milling about than usual, which means most of them must be waiting for the king to speak. I have a bad feeling about this. It is not strange for the king to make announcements, but this feels so sudden. And with everything else that's happened to me, I feel on edge. Wow, Lilac, you made these bags sound a lot lighter than they'd actually be. Stop complaining, Miss Karma. You get valuable experience out of carrying bags. Seeing Claude complain is amusing, especially since I know he can handle the load. I feel like a servant. What does that make me when you made me carry all those bags before? An assistant? I roll my eyes at him. We're both working at the Marchen, you know. And then the thought strikes me. What do you even do with the Marchen? Claude looks surprised at my question, but then he quickly smiles at me. I train the knights, of course. I also attract customers with my beautiful reputation. I start laughing, and Claude's face flushes. Darling, I get the feeling you're laughing at me. I wonder. We finish up the rest of our errands and then sit down in the town plaza to rest. Claude leaves briefly and then returns with a slice of cake for both of us to share as a snack. I have a lot of things I want to ask him, and now feels like the right time to do so. May I ask you a question? Of course, darling, anything. Do you enjoy dressing like a woman? I don't mind it, really. I appreciate the beauty in anything. You girls get to wear quite an assortment of lovely dresses and makeup. It's quite beautiful. I feel more comfortable in my own clothes, but I don't mind dresses. I guess you've had to wear a dress for so long you'd get used to it. I have another question. And what would that be? When I was in your room the other day, you spoke about a woman. Were you talking about the witch who cursed you? Oh no, the woman I was talking about... He suddenly goes silent and lowers his head. His expression fades into something more melancholy, and I feel my heart lurch. Maybe I shouldn't have brought this up. To my surprise, Claude continues talking. Shortly after I came to Angiel, there was a woman that I met whose smile was as radiant as sunshine. She was beautiful, and when she laughed, everything felt right about the world. Hearing him talk about her makes me uncomfortable. Am I jealous? Claude watches me quietly as if he is measuring my expression. Eventually, he goes back to speaking. I knew her for many months. Time passed, and I thought we were truly in love, and then He goes silent for a few moments, his eyes distant, his expression pained. Well, some things happened, and I realized she only loved me because of my curse. She was drawn to me just as any other woman is. She seemed so genuine in comparison to the other women, but in the end, Claude trails off and lets out an exasperated sigh. You were truly in love with her? I was. I've dated many women, but I've never fallen in love with someone who has honestly loved me back. So then the last person he loved was that one woman. Claude looks at me, and for a few moments he does not speak. Lilac, do you mind if I ask you a question? No, I don't mind. Have you ever loved anyone? My mother, of course. I was referring to a romantic kind of love. Romantic kind of love? What does that kind of love feel like? Allow me to enlighten you. He smiles at me and is surprisingly genuine. It can feel simultaneously like floating and sinking. Your heart stutters and you worry about small things, about offending this other person in some way. You wonder if they'll like what you're wearing or if they would prefer a sandwich to a casserole when you treat them for dinner. You begin to find beauty in all the things that they do. Their presence makes you feel complete in a way you had never thought of before. You try to imagine life without that person and find that you cannot. To even consider such a thing is painful, so much so that it feels like it might break your heart. Claude continues talking, but my mind is already whirling. Though he phrases things in a way that still feels unnecessarily dramatic, I feel a tinge of familiarity. The things he's describing, those are things I feel when I am with him. Yeah, they are. Before I can say anything, we hear the sound of hooves and the both of us turn. I can see a procession of knights along with the king on his horse. He normally rides into town like this, but today he's not smiling and there are way too many knights riding with him. And is that Sir Alcaster? Let us go find a place to stand and watch. As you wish. Claude walks with me into the crowd gathering around the king, and we find a spot to spectate at the very edge, closer to the alleyways. Again with the alleyways! My beloved citizens of Angiel, I have come before you today to make an important announcement. Ever since I was given this crown, I have sworn to live my life for the people and to rule in all fairness so that our kingdom could enjoy great peace. The crowd breaks into applause. I stare at the king, an uneasy feeling in my stomach when I notice that there is sadness in his eyes, though he is smiling. Then I notice Sir Alcaster appears to be hiding a smile. I don't like where this is going. The king's speech goes on for long minutes after that, with him detailing the commitments he made, the goals he set, and finally, his love for the people. The audience around us claps and cheers, but Claude and I are silent. Something is not right. I nod in response. To this day, I keep this promise. I would never break this oath, for it is the foundation on which I rule. The audience claps again, but I am silent, watching the king intently. Unfortunately, the unwelcome news that I bring to you today gives me reason to hand this foundation over to someone else. What? What? I've fallen terminally ill. No! The king's proclamation is met with shocked and angry chattering from the audience. I cannot hear anything that is being said over the cacophony of voices, but I know that the audience is dissenting. I stiffen as I stare at the king. He is lying. I can tell by the firm set of his jaw and the way his eyes flicker across the crowd faster than they ought to. The king has lied to me so many times before that I can recognize when he does it. I know that this unfortunate news must come as a shock, but this is an illness for which there is no current cure. As for the question of my successor, he shows off for a few moments, and I think I see something in his eyes that hints at urgency, but I am not sure why. Crown Princess Emmeline is unmarried and is still too young to rule on her own. I feel a pang of irritation and confusion. Another lie. Emmeline could rule just fine with the help of Sir Mithros and the others. After much thought, I have come to the conclusion that our kingdom, which still continues to face danger from the witches, is best put in the capable hands of the commander of the Order of Caldera, Sir Alcaster. Oh no! What? I cannot hide my shock. The rest of the audience react similarly, their sudden outbursts are testament to their confusion. While I will be providing support and assistance from the sidelines, I cannot in all good grace continue to wear this crown when I know I cannot serve my people as they deserve. You're dying, or sick, or whatever. You could still serve them. Like, what? This is all lies. Simply put, I believe that the witches have gained more power in the recent months, and that Sir Alcaster is best suited to deal with these conflicts. Give me proof. I see no proof. The fairy tale curse runs more rampant these days, and there have been more reports of incidents involving magic. The murmuring continues, except now the townsfolk sound panicked. This cannot be true. We do not miss the reluctance in the king's next words. Sir Alcester has also suggested a number of remedies to our laws, especially concerning our security and work hours. I believe that Sir Alcester can better rule this country in these turbulent times. Please show him all the love and loyalty you have shown me. BS! That bastard. Claude has a foul expression on his face, and his words feel heavy, even in a low whisper. I know the king. He takes every duty upon himself, and he would never hand his crown to someone else. Once Sir Alcester comes to stand on the podium, he silences them with a glare. It'd be cool if he had a glare. Instead, he just looks plain-faced. Citizens of Angiel, I swear to you that I will serve you as well as Gennaro has. That being said, I also believe some changes will need to be made. Sir Alcester continues to speak. He mentions things like curfews for safety, extended work hours, and additional taxes to go towards the knights, but I am slowly beginning to block out the drone of his voice. How can you have curfews and extended work hours? Like, if your work hours are extended, you kind of have to stay out later, which means the curfew doesn't make any sense to you. And extended work hours means that all the extra money is going to go to those taxes. I don't understand. What is going on? Sir, no. Alcester must have done something to force the king into the charade. The king stands behind Alcester with his hands clasped, his eyes alert, but there is a helplessness to them that I have never seen before. It isn't long before the crowd's unsettled murmuring becomes agitated whispering. I am stunned when Claude cups his hand to his mouth and starts shouting. There's only one king! King Gennaro! Claude grips my hand and starts leading me around the outskirts so that people cannot spot him as he continues his shout. The crowd begins to chant along with Claude, and when they draw near to the stage where my father and Alcester are standing. There is only one king, King Gennaro! There's only one king, King Gennaro! Let's go, Lilac. The crowd is right next to the platform now, the chant carries on. Claude pulls me behind him, but my mind is on my father and on his desperate eyes. Hours later, the Marchand's tavern is chaotic. People are talking over each other, trying to relay the scene that they saw in town today. Every visitor here is talking about what they witnessed. I have been in a corner of the room this entire time, trying to understand everyone but failing. Delora and Parfait are not here to calm all of this chaos. Hey, princess, how are you feeling? I almost jump when I hear Rumple's voice. Surprised, I can feel when a damsel is in distress, my lady. I'm really not in the mood for your flirting, Rumple. Oh, my apologies. I thought you might have wanted some cheering up. Where's your partner? He went out to town to survey the situation. Karma doesn't do anything around the tavern, but he does a whole lot for you, doesn't he? I suppose that's the least a man in love can do. I feel myself blush. What is Rumple going on about? Oh, you know. Princess, you're pink. I am not. My mind feels all scrambled now. This is all Rumple's fault. Thankfully, before Rumple can continue talking, the door opens and Delora walks inside to call the Marchand boarders into the reception room. When I step into the reception room, I am surprised to see two familiar figures standing beside Parfait. Emmeline and Rod. Both of them look downtrodden and discouraged. Everyone is noticeably shocked as they step inside. The prince and princess? Where do they come from? What is happening at the palace? What of Queen Ophelia? We need silence in the room, everyone. Delora raises her voice, effectively causing everyone to pause. She glances at Parfait, who nods, and then turns to look at Rod and Emmeline. Princess Emmeline, if you would tell everyone what you told Delora and I. The room is unnaturally quiet as Emmeline begins her story. She starts with the events of 1 week ago. In the middle of a family dinner, Alcester burst in with soldiers and seized her, Rod, and Ophelia in front of the king. What? Sir Alcester said that if the king didn't hand over his crown, he would kill us. We had no idea a coup could be staged. The three of them were taken down to the prison cells, with Ophelia taken to a separate cell. Sir Fitzgerald helped us escape, but only just barely. Fritz, are you openly disobeying your father? I hope that he is safe. Alcester wanted to kill the king. I'm sure that he still will. But he has no reason to. The king has already handed over his crown. I speak before even realizing. Everyone stares at me, including Rod and Emmeline. Alcaster is a foul man. I only think he usurped the throne now without violence because he wants less resistance from the people. He never spoke up to my father before. Did you just say father? It's a long story, Em. Emmeline looks between Rod and I, her expression confused. You know each other? We do. Emmeline looks like she wants to say something, but she remains silent. Our mother is still inside the palace. We need to save her somehow, and save Fitzgerald. What happened to Fritz? We don't know. He helped us escape, but we were spotted at the last minute. He told us to run ahead and leave him behind. We didn't see him again after that, and we couldn't just wait, so Rod brought me here. Right now, we need to piece together the situation as quickly as we can, and then we need to figure out a way to save the king. I knew Alcaster was up to something, but I never thought it would escalate into this. Jurian, what do you know about this? Garland and I weren't stripped of our titles because we disobeyed Alcaster's orders. It was because we overheard Alcaster plotting something and tried to tell the king of this plot. We gave him a warning, but the king didn't believe us, not with Alcaster and Mithros whispering in his ears. Mithros is also evil. The king didn't think Alcaster was possible of such a betrayal. He thought we were trying to turn him against Alcaster for our own gain. And so Alcaster stripped us of our titles and banished us from the palace. Lady Parfait found us, and while we were happy to help out at the tavern, we also intended to eventually do something about the mess in the palace. So Alcaster has been planning to do this all this time? Snap. When we part for the night, Parfait and Delora take Rod and Emmeline to a room that they can share. It has been decided that they will be harbored here at the Marchen, a place that Emmeline apparently knew about but never came to because she wasn't cursed. Well, Rod did say that his family knew he was cursed. I noticed Emmeline looking at me many times throughout the night, but she never asked me anything. The next few days are a muddled mess. Everyone is busy trying to find out what happened and what can be done to help the king. I'm sweeping the tavern half-heartedly one day, my thoughts on everything but my chores. Everyone's been trying to do something to help out the last few days. Though I've gone on quite a few trips into town with Claude to search for information, I haven't been able to find much. I feel so useless. I'm finally on my break, so I decide to go into the reception room to rest. When I step inside, I notice Emmeline sitting on the couch. She waves me over as soon as she sees me. She hasn't really openly spoken to me since she has been here. Parfait and Delora have been trying to hide her so as not to cause a ruckus in the Marchen. Rumors are dangerous now. You're a lilac, right? Yes. Rod told me about your curse. He said that you're the king's blood daughter. I'm really sorry. I'm shocked by Emmeline's sudden outburst. What? I didn't mean to, but I took your place. How could I forget my own sister? We're not blood related. That doesn't matter. I would love you regardless. Emmeline was always trying to strike me out and do things with me back when I was still in the palace. I distanced myself from her because I thought the king loved her more than he loved me. I still think that maybe he does. We weren't close. I barely spoke to you or to Rod. Didn't he tell you that? He did. But perhaps now we can turn over a new leaf. Emmeline is as stubborn as always. I have more things to worry about than being her friend. I have to go. And this is why I still do not like her as a person. Honestly, you could say, sure, and then, but no, you're just like, I don't care. I don't want anything to do. Like, seriously? Nah. I walk off before the conversation can continue. If I hadn't been cursed and remained in the palace, would Sir Alcaster have taken me hostage too? The hours tick by, and as the tavern is emptied for the day, Delora calls everyone together to explain what she and Parfait have pieced together about the situation. All right, everyone, we've come upon some new information. The first is that Alcaster has cracked down on the riots in town. Anyone seen protesting his rule is thrown in prison. The king always valued the people's opinions. Alcaster does not want opinions. He only wants to rule with an iron fist. Our patrols have shown that there is overall more security in the palace and around the town. They have been charged with keeping people quiet in whatever ways they possibly can. As we heard from the prince and princess, things are most turbulent in the palace. The king is still alive, but it is unlikely he will stay that way for very long. One thing is clear. Given Alcaster's motives to take over the kingdom, I doubt he will rest until the king is dead. The king's men have turned against him, and even if there are loyal soldiers still left in the palace, we cannot contact them right now. Rescuing the king and queen will be on us then. We just so happen to have people in this tavern that have a shot at rescuing them. Prince Rod has the key to a secret passage we can use to break into the palace. Secret passageway? But only the king and the commander of the knights have the key to that passage. So how did they get a copy? Who's going to join us on this mission? Julian and Garland both volunteer immediately, followed shortly by Claude and Waltz. I'll go too. The room goes quiet as I step forward and volunteer. Princess, we can't allow you to put yourself in danger. I look at Claude, who is staring at me, shocked. I took up the sword so I could protect those I care about. Princess, you don't have nearly enough practice. But I can help. I still have time to learn. I agree with Parfait, Princess. The palace isn't the place for you to try out your newfound sword skills. But you may as well chain me up because I refuse to stay here while you all go save the king. Princess. Well, she has been practicing with the rest of us. Don't encourage her, Jurian. It's not like any of us can stop her anyway. You're right, the princess is quite stubborn. Claude agrees with Jurian, but I can tell that he does not like the idea of me going along with them. If only we had time to get reinforcements from Karma's country. Karma's country? Brigantia. How is it possible that a Brigantian citizen can simply ask for reinforcements? Karma is the crown prince of Brigantia. There is some shuffling in the room as everyone turns to gawk at Claude. Rumpel, Anise, Rod, and Emmeline all look shocked by this revelation. You're the lost prince? Lost prince. It sounds like such a tragedy, doesn't it? Anise suddenly looks distressed as she fiddles her thumbs. All this time and I never knew. I'm so sorry, Your Highness. There's no need for formalities, Anise. But I am the lost prince after all. I keep my lineage a secret because right now I am just a normal commoner. I don't like Anise's face. She looks like she's looking down on people. I don't like this face. This should be redrawn. She looks bishy, and she's not bishy. But you're the prince. Couldn't you still ask for reinforcements? Even if I did ask for reinforcements, I'm pretty sure they would never come in time. Besides, I can't go back to my kingdom yet. He cannot go back while he's still cursed. The conversation continues in a more solemn tone. Eventually, we start speaking of our plan to enter the palace. When the details are all finalized, I repeat everything to myself to make certain that I know what is meant to happen. Waltz will lead us to the palace then, and Jurian and Garland will follow right behind him, watching for the most immediate enemies. Leave it to us. We'll deal with any resistance before it touches you, Princess. And Karma will be watching from the back, along with Delora. A witch and a prince for backup. Delora smiles wryly. Claude rolls his shoulders. I'd like to think of us more as the closing act. Though if all goes according to plan, we will have no need for either the opening or closing act. It is a small task force, which is better. The smaller, the better. The last thing we want is to be noticed. We decide to meet again over the course of the next week to finalize our plan and carefully survey the situation in town before parting. Claude is taken to training me, Jurian, and Garland at the same time. Just the other day, he had all of us attack him together. Even though I am nowhere near as good as a trained knight, I still managed to hit him once. I feel like things are coming to some sort of conclusion, and yet I still haven't done 3 good deeds. Today we finalized our plans for getting into the palace. We have mapped out where the king and Ophelia must be in the prisons, where the guards might be positioned, and how we are planning to sneak in. I sit down on my bed, and I'm about to lay down when I hear something. Hello, love. Ah, he called us love. Ah. I have problems. My, you're red. Were you thinking about me? I noticed that he has one hand on his chest tonight, but then he has been doing that more often lately. I notice it during practices and sometimes when I catch his eyes. Is he sick? Darling? I shake myself at the sound of Claude's voice. What if I was changing? You could have knocked. That's what we've been saying to you! Well, you didn't seem to have a problem when you walked in on me changing without announcing yourself. That's different. No, it's not. He strolls inside and steps closer to me. He smiles at me mischievously. Oh, how so? Cat got your tongue? Claude shakes his head, his smile softening. I really didn't mean to come in to disturb you. I just have something important I needed to say to you. Claude kneels in front of me and furrows his eyebrows. That's a picture. I want to insist you reconsider going to the palace with us. As Parfait and Delora have said many times, it will be dangerous. Nothing you say is going to change my mind. I want to do what I can to help everyone. Yes, and that terrifies me. Terrifies you? If your stubbornness leads you to putting your neck out there for someone, I would never forgive myself for your injuries. If you want to help me, stay here, where you'll be safe. I'm not some damsel that needs to be protected. Lilac, all I want is for you to stay safe, so that when you save your father, you can face him with a smile. I won't be able to face my father unless I am one of the people to save him. Stubborn as always. I sigh, irritation welling up in my stomach at the look on Claude's face. He's calling me stubborn, but he's being stubborn about this. You said I've improved with my sword fighting. You have. You've improved so much because of your resilience and drive, and because you're genuinely interested. It's because I have a good teacher. Oh ho, your compliment is gentle music to my ears. Your compliments mean a lot to me, Lilac. My eyes fixate on his soft smile and at the gentle crinkles at his eyes. Our eyes lock, and for a few moments I am aware of a slight energy between us. I glance away hurriedly, not entirely sure of what would happen if I kept staring at him. My heart beats unsteadily in my chest. Earlier today I comforted your sister when she started crying about the things that happened in the palace. Emmeline? Why would he comfort her? I saw her crying downstairs in the reception room earlier today, without anyone there. She's a rather sweet girl. I keep thinking that the two of you are completely different. You're both strong-willed and stubborn, but she wears her emotions on her sleeve while you keep them all inside of you. I'm not hiding anything, if that's what you're implying. Mother always told me crying was weak. Claude stands up and leans forward. Before I know it, I am in his arms. Lilac, I'm always here for you. I feel flustered again, and my mind feels foggy. I can barely comprehend what's in my mind or in my heart. Ah! What do you mean I'm sorry? What do you mean thank you? Thank you, I'm sorry for what? 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 Thank you? You never need to thank me, Lilac. But you've done so much for me. It's not just the sword fighting, it's your patience, your company, your saving me when I needed help. That's not true. I'm pretty sure I'm the most selfish person in this tavern. All I ever want is things for myself. I've never thought you were selfish, Claude. He puts a hand to my cheek and looks at me solemnly. You don't think that me wanting you is... Oh, he said it, and also something happened. Oh no. Suddenly he steps back, his hand on his chest again, his breathing heavy. I stare at Claude with wide eyes. Claude, are you okay? I'm fine. He sighs out slowly, but he sounds obviously pained. I'll go get Anise. No. I'm fine. I swear it. It's just a spell of dizziness. But you... He manages a small, tight-lipped smile before he straightens and shakes his head. His hands are visibly shaking. I must be tired. But Claude... Do not tell anyone about this, okay? I don't want them to worry. Why is he always so stubborn? He's obviously in pain. I clench my hands into fists as I frown at him. Why must you always be so secretive? You're keeping something from me, Claude. I'm sorry, Lilac. Claude abruptly leaves the room, leaving me with my fragmented thoughts. Chapter 9. The Rescue. Alright, I'm gonna leave it here for today. Things are getting... We're getting into the fight part. We're getting to the climax. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. I can feel it. Alright, hopefully there's just a few more chapters left. Maybe like 2 or 3. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm worried for Claude. Okay. I'm gonna go, and thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, ring the bell so you're notified when videos come up. And I hope you all have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Okay, bye.